Angus played that riff over and over and over in Thunderstruck. Ring, ring, pick up the phone. Hello? Hello, it's Jimmy Page here. Oh, by the way, during Tom Jones, Elvis Presley offered me a job.
Oh, when was that?
And, I had to say, look, Elvis, can't you see I'm busy? The music always came from Jimmy or Paul.
Right.
So it wasn't, they didn't ask for our input whatsoever. I got a call from Malcolm at home, and he said, look, it's nothing you've done or nothing you haven't done, but we're going to try Phil out.
They offered to have you stay around while they tried.
Yes, he said, we'll pay you and everything.
Okay.
And I said, no, I'm gone. And that's when I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Our lifeblood, if you like, is playing music to people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm pulling chicks, of course.
Did you ever remind the guys that they needed you to join so they could have a massive hit? I'm just kidding.
You hire me, guys, and you're going to go places.
Yeah.
The music business is full of, cheats and pimps and whores. And but I must warn you, there's also a downside. There can only be one AC/DC.
The hair metal guru from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru. Never forget Charlie too.
Hey, I am so pumped to welcome Chris Slade to the show. Chris played with Tom Jones in the 1960s, Manfred Mann's Earth Band in the 70s. He played with Jimmy Page and Paul Rodgers with The Firm in the mid-80s. And yes, he was the drummer for AC/DC on the album that brought them back to the top of the charts, The Razor's Edge, which featured the smash hit Thunderstruck. And he is currently leading the Chris Slade Timeline, who put out the album Timescape last year. With that, Chris Slade, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi, Anthony.
It's
nice to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here. So, for people who don't know about the Chris Slade Timeline, what can you tell me about this album Timescape that came out last year? I think half of it's originals and half of it is covers from your previous projects. Tell us about that album.
Yeah, I wanted a double album because I wanted to have an originals side. And so it's not a double album, it's double CD these days.
Right.
Or a double download, whichever you want to look at it.
Right.
But I wanted to do that to show off the band and the way we do it, because we do on stage, we do live AC/DC, as well as a lot of other stuff that's I've played in my career, including Tom Jones.
Right. Right.
So it's very difficult to get musicians who want to do that.
Right.
They want to switch from AC/DC to Tom Jones, David Gilmour, Jimmy Page. And so I had to, I knew these guys were great.
Right.
I used to go and see them when they were a band, just playing pubs and clubs, which is what we do now, actually, as well as the odd festival. And I knew they were great musicians. They used to cover stuff like Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can do that. Thank you very much.
No. There's a video for Back with the Vengeance, and I just got to say, as a massive AC/DC fan, if you like AC/DC, Back with the Vengeance fits right in with what that band was doing.
Oh, cool. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
I was very proud of that, actually. This is the first time I've actually tried to write a song. I've always done lyrics for Earth Band and for a few other projects, but I've never done melody and words together.
Okay.
So this was absolutely, for me, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Because it got all my creative juices flowing. And it was just great to be able to go in the studio and put it down. And I had the musicians that could do it, that could play any style or any genre that you like, heavy metal or you know, whatever. And
Awesome.
so I was very pleased with that.
I will put the purchase link for that CD, but again, if you're probably people on this channel are going to know you from AC/DC. Some will know you from The Firm, Manfred
Yeah.
Mann. But I've been listening, and I'll be honest, I didn't know about this album until recently, but I've been listening to it on iTunes, and so people need to check it out because it's fantastic. Um, I wanted to say that you started playing professionally when you were a teenager. You worked with Tom Jones, but your first major band project, kind of band project, was the Manfred Mann Earth Band, right?
Yes, that came straight after 7 years with Tom Jones,
Okay.
including Las Vegas and Madison Square Gardens, everything,
Right.
you know.
Um,
So,
and
yes,
Manfred Mann had some big hits. They were kind of more pop in the 60s, but then
yeah,
it gets rebranded as the Earth Band in 71, and you were kind of a founding member of the Earth
yeah,
Band, correct?
yes, I was. Manfred called me first and he said, "Do you know a bass player?" Which I did. He said, "I already know a guitarist and singer. He's in Australia at the moment. That's where Mick Rodgers lived, if you like, although he is English, but
Yeah.
he lived in Australia." And so that was the band.
Yeah.
But Manfred has never said, "Okay, guys, this is a band." He never said that, and we were together for 7 years.
And I was like, did it feel like, did you feel constrained by joining a band where obviously they had a clear leader?
Uh, no, there wasn't a problem in that.
Okay.
Manfred's a great musician. He's a great keyboard player,
Yeah.
great jazz player. Um, and he knows a good song,
Yeah.
as in Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen.
Right?
But this was before Springsteen was anybody,
Yes.
completely unknown. And Manfred and I got given uh, a copy each of Greetings from Raspberry Park. And the journalist that gave it to us said, "You got to listen to this guy. He's great." Uh, and that was John Landau, actually.
Okay.
That was his current and present manager.
Right?
Um, and, I loved it immediately. And I was telling anybody who would listen, DJs, anybody, you got to listen to this guy. He's fantastic. I didn't know how good a performer he was
Right.
for a couple of years yet, and we didn't meet, shall we say? And so it was brilliant to be able to pick an unknown, relatively unknown, because Greetings from Raspberry Park went down the pan, as you probably know.
Yep.
Nobody bought it, relatively, that is.
Right.
Um, and, now it's a multi-million selling album. But when it came out, nobody wanted it.
I
And
bet
blinded
I
by the
bet
light. And
I bet he
yeah,
was I bet he was thankful that you guys covered Blinded by the Light because like you said, he didn't have much of a name back then.
absolutely. Well, um, we were probably going towards the end of our career of
Yeah.
Earth Band,
Yep.
which would be mid-70s. So the band would have been together, 4, 5, 6 years by then.
Yep.
And so Manfred, he brought it to us once, and we said, "We don't like that, Manfred," because we all had a say in those days,
Right?
Don't like that. He took it home, worked on it, and he came back and we said, "That's fantastic. Let's
Right.
do it." So it just shows you a bit of tweaking can do.
What
Um,
do you remember when you realized like that thing was going to blow up and be one of the biggest songs in the world?
uh, No, we didn't actually. None of us.
Okay.
Somebody in the record company said, "Oh, I knew it was a hit as soon as I heard it." I said, "That's funny because we bloody didn't."
Right. Right. And
And I have been able to tell when records are really good,
right.
like with Tom Jones, with "It's Not Unusual," his very first single.
Right.
We knew immediately we did the demo that it was a hit song. And
Right.
Tom actually said to the writer, who was the writer of It's Not Unusual, he said, "If I can't have that song, I'm going back to Wales. I'm giving up." He was already over the hill, you see. He was 23 years old.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's
He
over
was
the hill
told
back
that
then.
when he was 22, somebody said to him, "Oh, you're too old now. You'll never make it. You're 22." And it's like, geez, how young? There was Herman's Hermits steaming up the charts,
Right.
So the younger you were, the better.
Speaking of
But
blinded by the light, how does it feel to be a part of a song that had one of the most misunderstood lyrics of all time? Because I'll be honest, I always thought it said wrapped up like a douche.
yeah, I know. That's the way it sounds. It's through the recording and the singer, which wasn't Mick Rodgers by then,
Right.
he had a New Zealand accent.
Okay.
And it wasn't recording properly. It's all technical stuff. The azimuth was wrong, so it came out very sibilant. So it sounded like that in the record. But what we had as lyrics, because we spent hours, literally hours. There was no printed lyrics.
Yeah.
Especially in those days, no printed lyrics whatsoever. So we spent hours and hours putting the needle on the record for one line. Just, what do you say then? What do you say then? Don't know. So in the end, I come up with "wrapped up like a deuce,"
Yeah.
which is like in Britain, when you wrap your card hand in, you wrap it up. You go, "Okay, I'm wrapping," with a W,
Okay. Yep.
And so that's the way it's. We all went, "Oh, well, that's as good as we're going to get." We couldn't ring up Bruce and say, "Hey, what's your
Yeah.
lyrics, man?" Or even his record company and say, "Hey, yeah."
Right.
So that was the way we used to do it, and that's the way that was done. So mistake, first of all, of course, it's revved up like a deuce.
Yes.
And all we could get was wrapped up like a deuce.
Yeah.
A deuce coupe.
Right.
So, the big mistake there, but it helped.
Yeah. Apparently.
Without that, it wouldn't have, perhaps it wouldn't have got to number one all over the world
Right.
and sold millions. I still play it with Timeline, and it's on the CD.
CD.
And I was playing it. We played it in Europe last Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm still extant. I'm not quite extinct yet. I'm on my way, but still extant.
Well, I've been watching live videos of the Timeline, and no, you seem to be doing just fine. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, thanks.
I
still enjoy it. I love being on the road. I always have.
Mm-hmm.
And we go in an old van. It's like the old days, like the 60s.
Yeah.
And the gears in the back. And we're what is it? Unit, I suppose.
Okay.
Just the van and us. It's an old beaten up old van. I love it.
Okay. Okay. What happened with the Earth band? Like, it seems kind of confusing about how it ended, because did Manfred say he was quitting and then reformed without you? And I'll stop right. Like how did it end for you?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. He said, I'm really old now. I'm 45 or whatever it was. I can't can't work it out. It might have been 55. I have no idea. He's
Sure.
still going. He's 85 now.
Right.
And so, yes, he said, I've had enough. And of course, he'd been successful for a long time as a pop leader of a pop band in the 60s.
Yep.
And then he then formed Earth Band, which was
Yep.
more progressive band.
Yep.
And we were more like Cream than anything else, actually.
Mhm.
When we were live, that is. And we could never capture it on record.
On record, right.
But our shows were very exciting.
Right.
And so we were quite successful before, as an act, before Blinded by the Light. And then when that took off, that was the end of it, of course. Became major,
Right.
which I was still am very proud of course.
Sure. Were you disappointed in how it ended? I mean, were you upset? Like,
Very disappointed.
yeah.
In fact, Colin Pattenden, that's the first bass player, and myself formed a band.
That's
And we
right.
got permission, verbal permission from Manfred. Well, we said, we'll call ourselves Earth Band. That's me and Colin. And you're still Manfred Mann, of course.
Yeah.
And he agreed to that twice.
Right.
And then the record company put an injunction on me and Colin. And that was the end of it, really.
Okay.
So, yes, I was very disappointed because we made a good record and it was a good band. The singer was Pete Cox, who was the singer in Go West.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been with quite a few people since.
Sure.
He's also been with Earth Band as a singer.
Sure.
But he was a really good bluesy type singer.
Right.
So the band was good,
Yeah.
but record company wouldn't have it.
Right. In 1980, you joined Uriah Heep for an album, Conquest. You toured with David Gilmour from Pink Floyd in '84. But then comes maybe a dream opportunity for anybody. Jimmy Page and Paul Rodgers come calling. How do you end up getting to join the firm?
I got a call from Jimmy Page, believe it or not.
Okay.
Somebody had my phone number and they gave it to Jim.
Yeah.
And he just called out of the blue, There's a story there. I was sitting at home, minding my own business, and phone rings, and don't forget, no mobiles in those days.
Right.
This was a desk phone, a home phone. And picked it up, Hello, Oh, hello, Chris. This is David Gilmour here. Oh, out of the blue.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good response. Oh, I had met him.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, hi, Dave. He said, so I'm putting a band together and I'd like you to be the drummer. And I went, good grief. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
So, chatting away, how long for, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? Oh, all around the world. Well, originally, actually, it was just going to be Britain and Europe.
Okay.
It turned into all around the world.
Okay.
So, cut a long story short, I put the phone down. Okay, Dave, I'll see you in a week or so. Blah, blah, blah. Down it goes. Okay, we're going to the pub. I've just got a gig with David Gilmour.
Yeah.
Okay, we went down the pub, had lunch, me and my missus, and then come back from the pub. Ring, ring, pick up the phone. Hello, it's Jimmy Page here. On the same day.
Right. Wow.
And I'm putting a band together with Paul Rodgers. We'd like you to be the drummer. Oh, thank you very much. You won't believe this, Jim. I've just said yes to David Gilmour. Dead silence. And it's like, oh shit, I've blown that now, you know.
Yep.
But I thought honesty is the best policy. And then Jim comes back. That's okay, we'll wait. I took the phone away from my head and looked at it, you know. Like I couldn't believe that. We'll wait. Just let us know where you are and what you're doing and how you're doing. I mean, okay. Which I did. It was going to be a 3-month tour. It ended up being 9 months.
Okay.
And I kept in touch with Jim all the way.
Okay.
And they were fine about it. And then they started we started rehearsing. And, but to get those calls on the same day, unbelievable.
That's one of the craziest, I mean, days in rock and roll history, probably.
Yeah.
And you're the, as far as I know, the first drummer for Page to work with since Bonham. And for him to wait 9 months for you, that's got to be like the biggest confidence boost you could get.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Bonham was, of course, we all know, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
We did a gig with his sister just recently, actually, Timeline, with Deborah Bonham.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a great singer, by the way.
That's right.
And so is Jason Bonham. He's a really good singer. He
no way.
Doesn't sing.
Oh, that I didn't know.
He just doesn't sing.
Okay. Wow.
But he's got a really good voice. I used to know him quite well, actually. Okay. We both lived in California. But I haven't seen him for a few years now, ever since the Led Zeppelin. Oh no, I've seen him after that, after the Led Zeppelin concert.
Okay.
Reunion, shall I say.
Right. Right.
But it's it's surprising. It's a small world. This world of rock and roll, isn't it?
Right. When you're recording the debut from The Firm, like, is that do you like it? Or is it nerve-wracking playing with, two of the biggest names in music history?
I've just got, my thing is people are people.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether you're, a janitor or I treat everybody the same if I can.
Yeah.
Unless they're trying to rip you off, which usually happens.
Right.
So, people are people, and you can't walk around going, "Oh, this is Jimmy Page. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!" Right. You can't do that. You got to get on with the job. And to me, he was Jim.
Okay.
Well, in Pagey, in fact.
Okay. Okay.
I'd met Paul before. When he was in Free.
Right.
I got that right, haven't I? Yes.
Yeah, when he was before Bad Company.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we did a tour with them. They were opening the show, can you believe? For Earthband.
Okay.
And we were both opening the show for Deep Purple.
Okay. Okay.
So it was so that's when I first met him.
Okay.
So he wasn't a complete stranger.
Sure.
But people say, "What was it like with Jimmy Page?" Jimmy Page. I'm going, look, he's a geezer. He's a fella. Geezer in England just means he's a bloke.
Oh, okay.
He's a guy.
Sure.
I'm a geezer now. I know in American.
Right. Right.
But we both are actually, me and Pagey.
Right. Right.
These days.
Did you and Tony did you feel that you guys had input? Tony Franklin, the bass player, did you feel like you guys had input Or was it kind of Jimmy and Paul calling the shots and everything?
No, sometimes, Paul might have an idea how things go. And actually, you always ask anyway.
Right.
You ask, you ask the band, what sort of thing do you want? Um, and that's the way you start, really, when you start a new song.
So
Well,
they
I
would
always
ask
have
you
anyway.
guys your input.
They wanted our best input. That's all.
Okay.
I was never asked, not even in so many words, to play like John Bonham,
Okay.
and which who can anyway.
Right.
Right. So that was never asked of me, or play like Simon Kirk.
Right.
No, that never came up.
Okay.
So it was like, is that okay? Yeah, that's okay. All right, I'll stick to that then. Because you always mess around a bit when you first do something.
Sure.
So I was never aware of, oh dear, now I gotta sound like Simon Kirk or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that. I just played
Okay.
how I best heard it. And there was no, I don't think there were any pointers. I remember once Paul sitting down and going, "This is the way I'd like it to go," because he likes straight 4/4,
Yeah.
And that's about the only pointers we had, really.
Sure.
Tony was fantastic.
Yeah.
But usually, and it usually happens this way, a lot of drummers will tell you, you put the drums down, then the bass player puts his down,
Okay.
and they usually wait for the drums to go down. Unless you play like a band in the studio, which we did with AC/DC.
Yeah.
And we did with the firm as well, I think. Except Paul, would overdub, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Well, lots of overdubs, with Pagey. And not out of necessity, just to build something up.
Sure.
But we did it usually with a band feel. So that was the process.
Okay.
We never asked to, can you do this or do that there? Yeah.
One of the controversies, I think, with the firm was that you would not do Led Zeppelin or Bad Company when you toured. Was there any talk of doing some songs from their original bands?
Not really, but me and Tony assumed there would be.
Okay.
Because it really, we should have.
Okay.
At least do a medley of a few songs.
Sure.
From both bands.
Sure.
I think Paul didn't want to do any. And so I think Jim went, well, okay, I'm not going to put any Led Zeppelin forward either.
Okay.
He wrote a song once, he brought it into rehearsal, and it was a fantastic chord sequence. I can't remember it. He's probably got it on tape somewhere. Mm-hmm. And me and Tony agreed, and we said to Jim, we said, that new song is fantastic. And I made the big goof. I said, it really reminds me of Led Zeppelin. He went, oh, really? We never heard that song again.
Oh, okay.
That was a big goof by me.
He wanted nothing to do, he wanted to distance himself from the past. It seems.
Yeah, it seems both of them did.
Yeah.
It's going to stand up on its own, or it's not going to stand up.
Sure.
We did 2 albums. People say it was so short. I go, look, it was 2 or 3 years. Do me a favor. Some bands don't last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. The first album had a couple Radioactive and Satisfaction Guaranteed got some airplay, But it only went gold. Was there talk either amongst the band or the record label like, damn, it should have done better? Or what was the mood after that first album?
Um, to be honest, that's nothing to do with me, and that wasn't anything ever to do with me. It's
Okay.
not my job. That's the manager's job,
Okay.
Phil Carson. And he worked for Atlantic anyway, so you know, um, so he knows his stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and no, there was never a defeatist thing.
Okay.
It was like, oh well, and the music always came from Jimmy or Paul,
Right.
so it wasn't. They didn't ask for our input whatsoever.
Sure.
I remember I played a song to Paul once, um, and at the end of it, he said, "Oh, that's really good." Never heard anything, of course. They didn't want my songs, they wouldn't.
Did
Not
did
when
those
you come
did
back
those
like that.
guys like did Jimmy and Paul, did you feel like they were guarded about their material? Like I want my song to be on the record, and oh, but well, I gotta have my songs on the record, or and maybe you
No,
can't go into that.
there was none of that.
Okay.
To my knowledge, that is,
Sure.
to my knowledge.
Okay.
I didn't know, I could guess, but I didn't know who wrote what,
Okay.
to be honest.
Okay.
I could have worked it out.
Yeah.
Um, Live in Peace was obviously Paul,
Yeah.
and so, you knew
Yeah.
it just wasn't part of your remit, you know? Your
Yeah.
job was play drums, so play drums, man.
Yeah.
And that's the way I've always gone anyway. So, um, if they want input, I got plenty of it,
Sure.
but, or suggestions. I'm sure we put suggestions in for arrangements.
Sure.
Or why don't we go quiet here? Or why don't we do this here? Or,
Yeah.
something like that. But it wasn't, it was, uh, Paul and Jimmy were the writers.
Yeah.
It was obvious from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Sure. After Mean Business, and I appreciate you going into so much detail. I think after Mean Business, was there any hint that that was it?
No, no, not at all. Um, we just, I can't remember even how it came
Okay.
to an end. I can't remember anybody saying, "Okay, that's the end of it."
Okay.
Not like Earthband.
Sure.
So it was obvious, of course. Probably Phil told us.
Okay.
Phil Carson told us.
Okay.
But the as I said earlier on, Paul and Jimmy are just guys.
Yeah.
I know it's they they're seen as huge stars, which they are, of
Right.
course.
Right.
But they're still Paul and Jimmy,
Right.
at the end of the day. So it's like, oh, okay. I'm not going to go, oh, what's Paul going to do now? What's Jim going to do now? I was more
But
concerned with what's Slade going to do now.
but you didn't envision it as only a 2 album deal. Like you were, I think, thinking that, hey, this is our band. This is what we're gonna do from here on out.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. I was up for another 7 years. I tend to be a 7-year cycle man.
Right.
And yeah, I would have loved it to have gone on. So would Tony. We talked about it.
Yes.
And we were going to get back together, the firm. And then this unknown sort of band came along, what they called, Lead something or other,
Yeah.
that did a reunion, and that stopped it completely.
Wow. So you had you guys been in talks? Like, had you talked to Jimmy about it or Paul or How far did it
no,
get?
it's never come up like that.
Okay.
Um, uh, it was never a talking point. It was like,
Okay.
oh well, that's a shame.
Okay.
An end of a job, which
Sure.
is what it was.
Yep.
And that's happened to me a few times.
Sure.
And we had a good time. We did a few tours,
Yep.
and like that. What can I say? I
In
would have loved it for another 5 years at least out of it, but
Sure.
no.
in 89, you toured with Gary Moore, and that leads to the AC/DC gig, correct?
Yes, that's correct. They both had the same manager at that time, a
Okay.
guy called Stuart Young, no relation to Angus and Malcolm.
Sure.
And he got me a chance for an audition
Okay.
with AC/DC. And that happened in England, just north of Brighton, on the south coast.
Mm-hmm.
And it took about an hour. And I remember Angus and Malcolm, no pressure, of course. Angus and Malcolm brought their chairs, put them 5 feet, I think, in front of the bass drum, and sat there facing me with the guitars
Okay.
on their laps.
Okay.
Probably to see if I'd crack under pressure or something. Because if you're a young guy and you haven't got any experience or very little experience, you're going to just crack.
Sure.
Because they were quite a big band, of course, at that time.
Yeah.
But I don't crack that easily. But I remember we started and they said, okay, back in black. It's like, you count in. Me? I've never played it before except in like trying at home.
Right.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, bam, it was, and that was my introduction into the audition.
Okay.
So, as I say, no pressure.
Yeah.
Angus and Malcolm Young sat right in front of me, 10 feet away, playing away.
I think a lot of people would have cracked.
Yeah. A lot of people would have.
Yeah.
But, by that time, they didn't know this, by the way, AC/DC. They just knew my name. They didn't know who I'd worked with or anything at that time. So I'd been Tom Jones for 7 years. And I played Madison Square Gardens when I was 19 years old.
Right.
For a week, I think. And then Earthband, we did really well.
Yeah.
But they know nothing about this.
Okay.
They may still not know. I don't know. But they certainly don't care, put it that way.
Right.
So, they thought, I can't remember exactly how old I was, but we were chatting when we were doing the Razor's Edge, I know, in the studio. And they said, oh, we'd like you to join the band. This was while we were recording, by the way.
Okay.
So, okay, we're recording next month. All right. Oh, thanks. We're going to Ireland. Okay. So go to Ireland. Anyway, chatting away. And I said something like, I was wrong there. Angus did know afterwards that I worked with Jimmy Page because they kept asking me questions about his guitars and things. And I go, look, I'm a drummer. I haven't got a clue what his purple Les Paul is like. I hardly notice it. He's always got his back to me.
Right. Right.
So
go ahead.
I'm trying to think where I was now.
Oh, You were talking about recording
Oh,
the
yeah.
Razor's Edge, and that was in Little Mountain in Vancouver, right? With Bruce
Yes.
Fairbairn?
Yeah, but this time, before we got there, we were in Ireland,
Okay.
in Dublin. That didn't work out.
Okay.
Um, so we went to Little Mountain in Vancouver, which was great.
Yeah.
And they said to me then, "Oh, what do you?" I can't remember how it came around, but it's like, "So how old are you then?" And I think I said like 45. I think that's right. They said, "What?" And don't forget, lot younger than I do right now,
Right.
you know. And they thought I was a newcomer, if you like,
Oh,
at
right.
that time.
Right.
And I didn't tell them, but somebody must have told them what I'd done, with Earth Band and all
Sure.
that, and David Gilmour and Jimmy Page and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but when I joined the band, they had no idea what they were getting. They just liked what they heard.
Okay.
Simple as that on drums.
Okay.
So, with them, you must have a good feel. You must have a good backbeat.
Yeah.
And you play in what they call in the pocket.
Yeah.
You got to play in the pocket. It's very difficult to describe that to somebody who doesn't play drums.
Right.
But it's got to be in the pocket. It's got to have a good feel. And that's what they were looking for. And I got lost on the way home because I kept saying, well, from rehearsals, from audition.
From the
And I
audition.
kept kicking myself, Why did you say that? Why didn't you say that? Why did you do that? Why didn't you do that?
Right.
And I got lost. I was 1 hour from my house. I got lost in the country lanes. So I phoned my then wife up and I said, she said, "How'd you do?" I said, "Terrible. I'm coming home." And, I didn't do very well at all. So when we got there, when I got home, I said, "Be home in half hour." When I got home, she came up the garden path and said, "Oh, she did really badly, did you?" I said, "Yeah, I did, unfortunately." She said, "They just called to say you got the gig."
Okay.
They called before I got back to my house, which is an hour away, you know. So
Okay.
they didn't have overnight discussions about it or anything.
Right.
So
Right.
I said, "Right, we definitely go on the pub now then."
Yeah. When you were recording Thunderstruck, when you're recording the Razor's Edge, and I have an original Thunderstruck ad that I have framed down in my basement.
Wow.
When you were recording that, did you feel like you knew, or did the other guys know, like, we have something here? This is going to be big.
I didn't.
Okay.
I don't know if Angus and Mal did, but
Mhm.
I didn't. I was, again, caught up in doing my job.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I hadn't heard the finished thing. I just heard us playing it.
Right.
And Angus played that riff over and over and over in Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
And we played it for days, I think, actually.
Yeah.
And I remember him, the engineer who was the producer. Oh, this is in Ireland. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is in Ireland.
Yep.
The producer said, "You know what? Don't keep playing that all the time, Angus. We'll make a loop of it." Like just Angus goes, "Yeah, okay." And it's so 20 minutes went by, half an hour went by. Me and Tony are out in the probably having a cup of coffee or something, and this producer tried to put it together, to put this loop together.
Yeah.
Did little, over and over. And in the end, after about half an hour or so, 40 minutes, Angus went, fuck it. Let's play it all the way.
Okay.
So that's about the size of it. He didn't want any loops. He just played it. And Brian sang it at the same time as we were playing it.
Okay.
So you imagine what his throat was like.
Oh, right.
We must have done it for days, I think.
Yeah.
It seems like we did it for days.
Okay.
I said to George Young, who was the producer, the guy's brother, I said to George, I said, what are you looking for? He said, I'm just looking for some magic out of it, you know. He was also looking for some magic, obviously. Yeah. And, I said, I think it's there, surely.
You found it.
I'm not just a spring chicken, I think this sounds absolutely fantastic. But, he knows the guys, and he was their brother, and he was very, very talented too.
Yeah.
So he knew what he was looking for. He knew it when he heard it.
Yeah.
Whether he heard it, but the whole world heard it when we did it in from Canada.
Yeah.
There was no boom boom on it, for thunder.
Yeah.
That was Bruce Fairbairn.
Okay.
Yep. He stuck that in. They did try it with Phil Rudd and with Simon Wright. Simon told me just recently, I had a chat with him just recently, and he told me they tried it, but he said there was no boom boom in it. I said, no, that was me.
When you were recording that, like, how did it end up going from Ireland to Vancouver? What was the reason for the change?
I think it was Bruce Fairbairn.
Okay.
Somebody must have said, oh, he's a really good producer. Well, the people he'd produced before.
Yeah.
And so they went with the producer, really.
Right.
And so to work with him, you had to go to Little Mountain.
Yep.
So if the mountain won't come to you, you've got to go to Little Mountain.
I just interviewed Mike Fraser, who worked with ACD.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Was up at Little Mountain, and he speaks glowingly of his time working with ACDC anyway. I heard you say this once, because I think most people look at ACDC and think that it's Angus's band, but I heard you say in an interview that it was Malcolm's band.
It was, when Malcolm was alive. I hardly spoke to Angus in the first time around, when I was in the band first time around.
Okay.
We spoke, but if any music was to be conveyed or anything at all, it came from Malcolm.
Okay.
And Angus says, he's a better guitarist than me. He still says that.
Okay.
And he always did say that in interviews. And Malcolm was genius as a rhythm player, the best by far, right. The best rhythm player I've ever worked with, and I've worked with a few. He just had some magic, a drive or whatever it was, a tenacity, a something. And, I would rate him in the genius range. There's nobody. I've heard recordings,
Yeah.
And it's I'm talking about rhythm now.
Yeah, right.
I'm not talking about David Gilmour. I'm talking about rhythm player.
Right.
And he was always on time, perfectly on time, like a drummer should be.
Yeah.
And he made my work so easy.
Sure.
Because all you did was follow Malcolm.
Right. Right.
Or enhance it wherever you can.
Sure. The album, The Razor's Edge, comes out in September of 1990. Thunderstruck and the album blow up. It goes to number 2. What was it like? Because they were obviously big in the 80s, but in the late 80s, they weren't massive like they had been on Back in Black. They became massive again on the Razor's Edge. What was it like having that happen when you joined the band?
Oh, it was fantastic, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't aware of the change so much. Cliff said to me, when we in the beginning, we were selling millions, like 10 million was ordinary to
Yeah.
us. And then there's been a bit of a lull, and we're only selling like 1 million now,
Yep.
which to a lot of bands, that's incredibly successful.
Of course.
But when Razor's Edge hit, it was when Thunderstruck hit, actually, of course.
Yep.
It was chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
Because when I did the second stint with AC/DC, there were, I think it was 20, 30 years between. 30, I think. I'm not sure about that. And the first, we had two buses. Two buses.
Yeah.
How luxurious is that?
Yeah.
That is successful enough for a lot of bands.
Hmm.
The second time around, it was private planes.
Oh, right.
So, Airstreams Anonymous,
Did
it's like,
did you ever remind the guys that they needed you to join so they could have a massive hit? I'm just kidding.
of course, I said that. I said, hire me, guys. And at the audition, I said to the two guys sitting in the chairs in front of me, you hire me, guys, and you're going to go places.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Okay. So the album does great. You do the live album, you do the Live at Donington DVD, you do the Big Gun single for the Last Action Hero soundtrack.
Right.
Then you go in to start making demos for the follow-up. And what happened then?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I didn't know anything. I got a call from Malcolm at home, and he said, look, it's nothing you've done or nothing you haven't done, but we're going to try Phil out. And he said, try Phil out.
Yeah.
He didn't say, we're going to use Phil, and we're going to try Phil out. No, I took that like, it just hit me, and I went, well, I'm gone then, Malcolm. He said, no, look, we don't want to get rid of you. We don't know if you can play drums even. It's been like 30 years, And I said, well, sorry, mate, but that's your problem now. Because I was really put out that I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
It's probably a lot to do with Angus, because Phil plays drums like Angus plays drums. Angus always plays on the demos.
Okay.
Angus and Malcolm both played drums.
Okay.
To a certain level, And Phil plays closer to Angus, perhaps, than I do. Perhaps. I don't know that. That must be a good question for him.
Yeah.
Angus,
Hey, come on and tell me this, okay? So they offered to have you stay around while they tried.
Yes, he said, we'll pay you and everything.
Okay.
And I said, no, I'm gone. And that's when I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And do you regret, do you wish that you had said, okay, I'll hang on?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
If I'd been my father then, if I'd been this age and talked to that guy back then, I would have said, look, just hang around, take the money.
Sure.
You probably can't play anyway, which he couldn't at that time properly,
Right.
to be very honest and candid. It took him a long time to get a working drum track. Long time.
Okay.
Or took them a long time, if you like, to get a working drum track. It's not sour grapes, that's fact. I still kept in touch with the crew, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And, they kept me filled in. occasionally when I bothered to ask the question.
Yeah.
Because, yes, I would have loved it to continue, like the film, but no.
And I'm obviously I'm a massive AC/DC fan, but after you left, the hits kind of stopped. I mean, they were always going to be played on the, but they never had another massive album like The Razor's Edge after you, and not that you were the only reason, but you get what I'm
No, I
saying.
wasn't there. Obviously, was not the only reason.
Right.
They are the writers, and they're great, great writers.
Yeah.
People miss that fact. And they're always, especially by musicians, they say, oh, it's just AC/DC. It's a three-chord trick. It bloody isn't a
Right.
three-chord trick.
Right.
It's incredibly well played. And they know how to write songs and put the chorus where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And I'm not being trite. They know their stuff. They know how to write songs.
Yep.
And musicians that say, oh, it's just this, just that. I've seen mature musicians go, oh, I had to learn that. And, I got a new respect for AC/DC because there's much more to it. They make it sound so simple.
Right.
And that's an art form in itself. So it's not as simple as it seems.
Right.
People think, oh, I can play that. You see tribute bands, they can't even play in the same sequences sometimes.
Right.
There are some good ones too, but they just get it wrong. Oh, that's the wrong chord, God, we didn't know it was a major seventh. Sorry. They just, oh, I don't know. It can't be duplicated, put it that way.
Right.
They are AC/DC, no matter how many thousands of tribute bands there can be, there can only be one AC/DC.
Amen.
With Timeline, we do half the set is AC/DC, the other half is all the other stuff.
Okay.
And that's the way I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play, the old stuff as well. Uriah Heep,
right.
Manfred Mann's Earth Band, even David Gilmour. So it's a fine line, though. You got to tread.
Yeah.
And I say to the band, I say, oh, that's the way they say to me. Oh, that's the way AC/DC do it. I said, we are not AC/DC. Nobody wears shorts,
right,
and a school cap. So, you got to adapt the arrangements.
Right.
Like if it's a long guitar intro, we don't do that.
Right.
Only AC/DC can do that.
Right.
So, it's learning your craft, I suppose. I don't know. They certainly have learned their craft. I talk as if Malcolm is still with us because he still is spiritually.
Right. Right. I heard you say in an interview that that Malcolm and Angus don't really talk. They just kind of look at each other and know.
Yeah, they do. Okay. You can ask anybody who knows them. They don't need to talk. They just look at each other sideways. And it's like twins, except they're brothers,
Right. Right. Did they communicate with you, or like you kind of said Malcolm kind of did? Like, did you feel like you knew Angus?
Yeah, I mean, he's friendly enough, believe it or not.
Okay.
And he'll chat, but he's not very forthcoming with talking.
Okay.
I remember I met Don Henley once, and I said, "Oh, big fan, and I'm a friend of Pino Palladino, who played on your album and all that." There was like a grunt from Don. And I said to one of the roadies after, I said, Don just grunted. And he said, yeah, Don don't do talking.
Okay. After the end, after how things end with the Firm and AC/DC, obviously both of them are disappointing. Did you ever think like, that's it? I don't want to do this anymore.
You mean play drums?
Or like be in band situations.
No, I
Okay.
love it.
Okay. Okay.
With the ups and the downs,
Sure. Okay.
It's like that Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas quote, it's full of murders and rapists and whatever. And the music business is full of, cheats and pimps and whores. And, but I must warn you, there's also a downside.
Yeah. I know that quote's going to be used somewhere. After AC/DC, you do some time with Asia and Michael Schenker, and then you get called back in 2015 after Phil gets some trouble. Was there, and obviously the way you answered the previous questions, there obviously wasn't any hesitation about going back, correct?
No, none at all. From me, no.
Right. And then,
I loved it. What can you say?
were you told that it was only temporary, or did they leave the door open that it could be long term?
In this business, nothing is ever long term.
True.
True. You go from month to month, probably less some gigs.
Right.
So it's never like, oh yeah, on our 12th anniversary, we're going to be doing,
Yeah.
No, there's none of that. It's like, okay, there's a tour coming up now, and it's going to be 3 months.
Sure.
So, and that's about the extent of your vision. And there may be another 3 months after that. Who knows? We never knew Earthband was going to be 7 years.
Yeah.
And I never knew Tom Jones was going to be 7 years.
Right.
And it was me that walked out on Tom, I'm afraid.
Okay.
And I was told, where's your Welshness? Where's your loyalty? And I said to the manager, I said, where's your Welshness and loyalty when you sacked the band 6 months ago? Or actually at that point, 6 years ago.
Okay.
He sacked the original backing band.
Okay.
I went back with Tom after about 3 or 4 months of being out of a job.
Okay.
And, so it was that was a difficult time because I didn't know how to get another job,
After you left Tom Jones.
Yes. And, oh, by the way, during Tom Jones, Elvis Presley offered me a job.
Oh, when was that?
It was late 60s. The first ever gigs that he did in Vegas.
The Vegas comeback special?
Yes. Not the black leather suit one.
Okay.
The first shows.
Okay.
And I was up and down and back and forth, and I was on the road with Tom at the time.
Okay.
And I like to play drums and and I had to say, look, Elvis, can't you see I'm busy?
Oh. I know I'm going to use that quote somewhere too. So he asked you to join and you couldn't because of Tom Jones?
Yeah, it took about 2 months for it to peter out, if you like, because I was on the road. I was keeping in touch with his road manager, Joe Escovedo.
Okay.
And kept in touch with him all the time. And I said, "Oh, look, I'm really sorry. I'm I don't know, Nebraska or something. And I can't make a rehearsal that I was going to make. I gave them plenty of notice. I didn't just let it peter out. And they said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll get another drummer in. And you can fit in at the end." And okay, great. So then it was, "Oh, look, I can't look. You can come on the last few days and catch up." Yeah, okay. And then that didn't happen. And it was like, oh, well, obviously it's going to be impossible. And Tom tour was still going on. And it just came to an end. But what then the last thing was, oh, we'll use two drummers. We'll have you, and we'll have Ronnie Tutt as well. I went, Ronnie Tutt? He said, yeah. I said, oh, great. Because I never met Ronnie, but I knew he was a great player.
Yeah.
Because I used to hear him on the Andy Williams show.
Okay.
Which is a big thing in Britain on TV. It was on weekly. And I found out the drummer was Ronnie Tutt. So it was going to be me and Ronnie Tutt playing drums, it was sort of fashion back then to have two drummers.
Yeah.
A lot of bands had two drummers.
Okay.
So, it wasn't that unusual, and I was looking forward to that, and then it didn't happen. So they go, oh, I like my fan up there. Do you like my fan? That's a good haircut. I'll have to stick to that as a style, I think.
All right.
You too.
I can relate. I can relate. That's right.
Yeah.
So what happened with Tom Jones? I mean, how did that end? I mean, I knew you said they
it was money, actually. To be very candid again. I found out that for 3 years the band, the guys from Britain, top session men, all of them, were on 3 times what I was on. So I said, and I'd starved with Tom. We'd literally starved together in London when we first moved to London.
Sure.
I mean, literally used to eat every other day to save money.
Okay.
And, I thought after all that, and when the time comes, it was the manager more than Tom, but Tom don't take any notice of anything to do with business, if you like.
Right.
So, they were paid 3 times what I was paid. So I left immediately.
Did you mention it to Tom? Like, hey Tom, this is going on. Like,
yeah, I went to see him. He said, go see Gordon, which is the manager. Who wouldn't,
Okay.
So what's the point in that? And he, obviously he still saw me as this kid from Wales who didn't know much, who didn't, but by that time I was, I'd been a professional for 10 years or something.
Right.
I was with Tom for 7 years in actual fact, but you know what I mean? I'd already had a taste of being a professional, tour in America, doing that stuff, which is a lot of people would aspire to. A lot of drummers, certainly.
Did you ever talk to Tom like throughout the 70s or what? I mean, after that?
I've seen him since Tom a few years back in Los Angeles.
Okay.
We were at the same party, and Tom was there. And we chatted. I never said, why didn't you pay me more money, Tom?
Right.
At that point, it's like it's water under the bridge now.
Sure.
But no, I don't think I'm that bitter about it, because that's the music business. That quote I gave earlier says perfectly, absolutely perfectly.
Right.
The fear and loathing in Las Vegas. And that's just a fact of life. And that's the way this business works. So any musicians out there, beware.
Right.
And you can talk to any band of any size, from Aerosmith down, Pink Floyd down, and you'll find that they've been ripped off all the way along the line by managers or accountants or something financial.
I've interviewed a lot of people on this channel, and that's what I hear a ton of, and what I also hear is like even bands that were platinum. Everybody, the fans think, "Oh, you must be a millionaire and you're just living in a mansion." And most of these guys, even if they went platinum, had to get day jobs right after the band ended.
Yeah, that came up just the other day talking to Timeline. He said, "Oh, I read in an interview that this guy didn't get paid what he should have got paid." And I said, "Well, that's this business, man. It's going to happen. So beware, all you future musicians. That is going to happen to you if you put a toe into this business."
Right.
But as as I explained in my book, which hasn't come out yet, hasn't been finally written, we do it because we love it.
Yeah.
That's our raison d'etre. That's our lifeblood, if you like, is playing music to people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm pulling chicks, of course.
Okay.
No, that's probably why you start. Is like, oh, I'm going to look cool up there with this guitar, aren't I?
Right.
Pull a lot of chicks, man. It's not like I want to be like David Gilmour or I want to be Jimmy Page. It's like, oh, I might get to pull a chick.
Right. I understand. I understand. I was going to ask one more AC/DC question, then I was going to talk about the timeline. When they got back, when Phil came back in 2020 for Power Up, when were you informed, or were you still thinking, "Hey, I'm the drummer for AC/DC"? Because it seemed like it wasn't quite clear.
There was a time, yeah, where it was up in the air because Phil was having problems, and
Yeah.
it was that. By the way, I did the demos for what was it? What was the one after?
Rock or Bust?
Ball Breaker.
Right.
I did the demos for him.
Right.
But
I mean,
I know that because I was up in London. The guys were in town. I went up to say hello.
Yeah.
And they all had apartments in the same building.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked in, and some music was playing upstairs. And I thought, hang on, that's me. So I pointed to the ceiling and said, like, who? And Cliff said, oh, that's Phil's room up there. And he was playing my demos to learn the songs.
Okay.
My demos with
Right.
me playing drums, not Angus playing drums.
Right. Okay. And you were like, I mean, so you didn't know at that time. You were thinking you were still in the band.
I can't remember why, but there was a time when it was up in the air about Phil.
Okay.
And nobody had said to me, no longer in the band. I can't remember if it was the first time or the second time.
And
But,
that's I was thinking the second time because you came back in 2015, but Phil came back in 2020 for Power Up. And I thought I'd read somewhere that you had said, like, as far as I know, I'm still the drummer in AC/DC.
yeah, I mean, that was the case. I wouldn't say that unless I thought that I was.
Right.
Put it this way, nobody had said to me, you're not the drummer anymore.
Right.
No manager, no musician, no nobody, no
Okay.
crew member. So there was a time of I think, of a couple of years where I could have been the drummer.
Right.
It wasn't done for any nefarious reason. It was done because I thought it was true.
Right.
It was said because I thought it was true.
Of course. Of course. Um, okay. In 2012 is when you formed the Chris Slade timeline, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what led you to go, okay, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. It's going to have my name on it. It's going to be my vision. How did that idea start?
I just wanted to play drums,
Okay.
and play the music I have been playing all my life,
Okay.
from AC/DC, Earth Band, Uriah Heep, Tom, anything.
Yeah.
Um, and I enjoyed playing it. And with AC/DC, we do 2 hours on stage. So Timeline does 2 hours on stage, only because to get everything in, you need 2 hours on
Sure.
stage.
Sure.
And I don't get my kicks unless I'm playing for 2 hours, to be honest. I really don't. It's like, oh, what happened there? It was only an hour and a half. It really is. It feels short.
Right.
The content is still there, but it feels. I'm not personally. I'm not satisfied with an hour and a half, or sometimes it's an hour if we're on a festival. They
Sure.
say, "Oh, we can't give you more than an hour." Oh well. So you've got to cut, and to cut our set down to an hour is like, that's very, very difficult, and still get the band across.
Right.
Because
With
it's
your
a
history,
brilliant
there's
band.
so much to choose from. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like putting together a set list.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It is difficult. Um, I've learned over the years, though, how to do it or what to do. At least I hope I have.
Yeah.
And even by the last gig, um,
Right.
the response from that came back to us. I was looking at some of it today. Um, and Christine was showing me, that's my missus, was showing me what people had written, like, oh, wonderful show, all that sort of stuff. Although I'm blowing my own trumpet, it's true because people don't um, realize it, um, and it still has to get through, trying to get Earth Band through in some way. And we do quite well. We play all over Europe.
Yeah.
Even Poland and Czechoslovakia, or well,
Yeah.
Czech Republic now.
Yeah.
Um, so we've done very well. We've been together for 10, 12 years, something like that. Something like that. And only to be stopped when I joined that little band, the AC/DC band,
Yeah. Right.
um, for
Right.
a couple of years.
Right.
So, and a lot of the guys are music teachers too. So they, they do all right when I'm not there, shall I say. They've got a job.
Yeah. And I've watched some clips on YouTube. I mean, that's a crack band. I mean, holy, and your singers are phenomenal anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Very proud of the whole band. It's absolutely, and, the guitarist, James Cornford, absolutely fantastic. Like we play Comfortably Numb with everything that goes with it,
Yeah.
on stage. And at the end of that, people have just got their mouths open.
Yeah.
They're just, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
This guy isn't David Gilmour. What is this? What is that? I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I interviewed Carmine Apiece a few months ago, and I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think it's the question, like, how do you do it not that you're old, but I mean, at your age, playing drums is a physical game.
Yes, it is. I always say I use the force because was it George who put that together? Is it George Lucas? I can't remember now. Star Wars, I mean.
Uh,
Um,
George Lucas.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah.
Yep.
The Force. There's a thing in martial arts. I've done martial arts all my life.
Okay.
There's a thing in martial arts, Chinese and Japanese. It's called Ki in Japanese and Chi in Chinese. It's the same force, though. It's where you go when you get to the end of a race or something, and you get that extra burst of energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's Ki energy, as it's called. Ki. Ki. Not Key.
Right.
And I've always been able, I don't know how, I've always been able to call on that.
Okay.
And so that is what martial arts has given me. It's given me my drumming power, if you like.
Sure.
You know, when a guy is dropping to his knees in a race, at the end of a race, and suddenly, for some reason, he can get up enough energy to get over the line.
Yeah.
That's Ki energy. And I've always used that. So that's why I say I use the Force.
Okay.
And George Lucas knew about that.
Yeah.
You know, there's a few things too that are martial art things that are in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Very much so. You probably know that anyway. But
Yeah.
and they're genuine. They are genuine things. So, you know, I think that's why it's so authentic, if you like, or so successful, because it's authentic.
Right.
Like it's a story that everybody can aspire to, you
Right.
know. And he did that on purpose, the Force, tapping into that energy.
And everybody
Anyway,
gravitated, I mean, to that story
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. I can gravitate. Can you? It's easy. You just
Right. So you released the Timescape CD last year. What, like, how much longer do you want to do this, and what does the future hold for Chris Slade?
Oh, I think I'll keep going for 20 or 30 years. I'll have to stop then, though, because I think my driving license runs out, so I can't do that. Uh,
Okay.
I go from one week to the next, to be honest. I
Right.
always have, and I've always gone where the wind blows.
Right.
That's always the case. I don't plan. I don't look ahead and see, oh, that's going to be a problem.
Okay.
You've got to reach the problem and then deal with it.
Okay.
Don't invent it before you get there.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to miss the ferry. We're going to miss the ferry. Wait till you have missed the ferry, then start worrying, you know?
Right. And you were just talking about writing a book, so what can you tell me about that?
Oh, I've been writing a book. When I bring it out, I'm going to say, you know, this has taken me 80 years to write this.
Right.
Like that's an answer from Picasso. I used to pay for his restaurant bills by doing a drawing on the bill
Right.
and sign it Picasso, you know.
Yeah.
And he said, somebody asked him, a reporter asked him one time, how do you feel that you just do a little cartoon or something and it pays the bill? It took you like 2 minutes. He said, that drawing didn't take me 2 minutes. It took me 60 years to be able to do that,
Right.
you know? So that's a fantastic answer, you know?
Right.
So it's the I don't know, longevity that and I've been trying to write this book. I have been writing this book all the way for decades.
Okay.
And I get down to it now and again. I realize I have to get it finished now though,
Right.
because I've only got 20 or 30 years. So
Right. Well, when it comes out, I'll be first in line to buy it, guaranteed.
Right. Thanks.
So, um, how many shows a year are you guys playing now?
It varies so much.
Sure.
COVID put the lid on all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
Um, uh, I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. We haven't done so much this year
Sure.
as we did last year, but as I said, we've been to lots of different countries, all over Europe, Italy, and Poland, and
Hmm.
Czech Republic, and all points in between. And we drive; we don't fly,
Okay.
so we can use our own equipment.
Sure. Okay.
So, and we drive ourselves, by the way.
Okay.
The guys, it's really old fashioned. It's really back to the 50s and 60s.
That's what it sounds like.
Our approach. The guys would love to fly, but I won't.
Is
I'm
there
not
any?
afraid, but it's. I always think I'm shortening the odds. But I was in Vegas just a few months ago, a couple of
Really?
months ago.
Okay.
In fact, my kids came there to say hello because one lives in America and one lives in Canada.
Oh,
The
really?
other one lives. The other one lives here.
Okay.
When I say here, I mean in England.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I love traveling too. A singer said to me once, "Do you know they pay us to travel?"
Right. What were you doing in Vegas?
It was a reunion with
Okay.
my kids.
Okay.
They both have wives and families,
Sure.
and we got together. So
Okay.
it was simple as that. I used to live in Vegas. Me and my missus used to live in Vegas. But we never went to the Strip.
Okay.
Hardly ever. Only when friends came from England, they'd
Right.
say, "Oh, we'll, have a good time in our hotel. Okay, I'll meet you there." And it's the only time we went there. It doesn't. I started going there in the 60s.
Right.
Like 65 or something,
Right.
66. And it's now 10 times the size as it was then,
Sure.
10 times.
Sure.
It's unbelievable. The city goes out now to the mountains. It never went to the mountains. It didn't
Right.
even leave the Strip hardly, where
Yeah.
the Strip is now. And the Strip was half as long as it is now.
Yeah.
It used to end at the Flamingo.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing this stretch of desert, and it had for sale on it. And I thought, who's going to buy that heap of sand? And and somebody quite connected, if you like, saw the potential of it and bought it up. And now it's the second half of the Strip.
Right.
So from Ringo onwards,
Right.
south, I think. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get I think it's south. Yeah.
Right.
So when I see it now, it's like, oh dear, lots of lights, but back then it had a fantastic atmosphere.
Sure.
Back in the 60s,
Oh, yeah.
amazing atmosphere, and that's not there now, in my opinion.
Right. Agreed. Agreed. Where can people keep track of? I know there's chrisslade.com. I know you have Facebook. I know you have Instagram. Is there any other place anything else that you want me to put in the description so people can follow you?
I don't think so. I think Facebook, the Chris Slade timeline,
Yep.
is the place to go.
Yep.
And again, Christine administers that.
Yep.
And if I'm going to put anything out, I'll do a video and she'll put it out for me.
Sure. Sure.
I used to be a web designer, but I couldn't even bloody
Really?
do anything. Yeah, I did it for a little while
Okay.
between bands,
Okay. Wow. And
but I couldn't even start now.
okay. Speaking of that, is there anything that I missed? Anything that you have going on that you'd be like that you're like, hey, I'd like to point this out before we wrap it up?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You know, I've you've covered a hell of a lot, which was formidable, and it's quite amazing actually. The span of it. I'm amazed myself when I look back and think, geez,
I'm
Madison
sure.
Square Gardens, you know, and back to the working men's clubs, you know,
Yeah.
where we used to see the whole club fighting like a John Wayne movie, you know, honestly,
Yeah.
that has happened definitely.
Right.
And, you know, it would be good as a movie. I know
Right.
that, but the movie's in my head.
Right. Well, I hope it comes out on book or movie because I mean you've been with some of the biggest names in music history. You damn near ended up in Elvis. You worked with Jimmy Page, Paul Rodgers, AC/DC, Tom Jones. I mean, so and that's why I wanted to have you on. I wanted to do my part to share your story because I think it's amazing.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You know, although I'm my age, I really appreciate any of that. That's great. Thanks very much indeed.
Absolutely. I will email Christine when this comes out. But you have been so gracious with your time. Chris Slade, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Anthony. Thanks a lot, mate. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Bye for now.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.